Friday, you're on, and I'm gonna try and get you out of here. So you get home before it gets dark. Okay, so we're gonna continue our walkthrough of bills. This one is mine, and I put it in because we do have to deal with it, or 248A will die. And so we can let that happen, but I think we should know what we're doing and not just let it go with something. So this is just our walkthrough. The House does have a companion bill or a similar bill, and they are taking testimony. So given that we have small things like education to deal with, I'm probably gonna wait till their bill comes over. Have to cross over to start taking testimony. So, Ellen, you can tell us what's in it.
Ellen Tchaikovsky, Office of Legislative Counsel. So I'm here on S-159. And the walkthrough portion will be very brief. This is actually to removing the sunset on 30 VSA section 248A. And all section 1 does of this bill is repeal the sunset that is in the statute. There currently is in statute sunset. Currently, it's set at July 1, 2026, that no new applications can be filed under this provision. So 248A is a citing provision for telecommunications facilities. It's in Title 30, so it's part of the PUC's statute. It is a similar but not identical process that the PUC goes through when they issue certificates of public good for energy facilities. But this is a process for a certificate of public good for communications facilities. It is an option that telecommunications facilities have. It is an either or choice they are offered. They can either go through the 248 process at the PUC, or they can go through the Act 250 and or municipal land use permitting process. 248A was enacted in 2007, initially for batch applications, but then was updated to just be for any application starting in 2009. And since then, there has always been this sort of rolling deadline of whether or not the statute should continue.
It's been almost 20 years.
Yes. Yes. And so approximately every 3 years, the legislature takes it up and reviews it and extends the sunset. So the basic process for 248A is that there are 3 different size categories for the facilities. Mostly you're dealing with towers here, but not always. Antennas and other some of the small cell developments. There's de minimis projects, projects of limited size or scope, or full projects. De minimis applications can be processed fairly quickly. There's limited criteria and limited notice that is given. But for the larger projects of limited size and scope or full, there's a 60-day advanced notice process where the applicant provides notice to a list of parties in the statute, including a number of state agencies and the abutting neighbors.
The municipality?
Yes, the municipalities during that 60 days are given the option to have a public hearing on the application where the applicant and the Department of Public Service attend and participate in discussion on the application. And the municipality can file comments, and the Department of Public Service also provides their feedback. And then once the application is submitted, there is a comment period for members of the public or the state agencies or municipalities to file their comments on the application. And then the PUC reviews a number of criteria on the application. They're very similar to the Act 250 criteria. And then they make a decision. There may or may not be a hearing on the petition, depending on if it is has complicated factors or if it's usually often size is an issue, or depending on the location, it may or may not have a hearing. So that is the very high level overview.
Okay. And for those who weren't in the room a few minutes ago, there is a similar bill in the House. And Energy and Digital Services, I think they have a much smaller preview and purview and twice as long during the day to deal with it. So I'm gonna wait for it to come over before taking testimony. I put this in just because I wanted to make sure there was a vehicle for the discussion, because we do need to make some decisions. But
Do you know offhand, I'm sorry to get you off the guard, or don't expect you to know this, when did the sunset first get passed and how many times have we extended it?
It's been since the creation, there has been a sunset. And I think 2007.
So,
And during the first, it went under significant change in the first batch of amendments. So in 2009, the statute was overhauled. And then since then, there have been a lot fewer changes. It has been almost always a 3-year sunset. I do think there was 1 year you did a 1-year sunset.
yes, there was a 1 year.
Yeah.
In recent
It's almost
years, has
20
been
years.
Much.
change.
You have not had too, there was a recent change in 2021 or 2020. You added some additional provisions around the advance notice procedure and the municipalities' hearings that they're allowed to hold. I can look that up for you, but otherwise there hasn't been in the last amendment you did. There were no changes to the statute. The last time I was here 3 years ago, you did request a report back from the Department of Public Service looking at for recommendations on how to make participation easier.
Yes,
I believe they didn't actually make any specific recommendations.
I haven't seen any, but we can ask them.
And then in 2020, you also asked for a report on if additional changes were needed to address small cell antennas, and that was also recommended that this procedure covers it. So there haven't been any significant changes. In
Small cells more, do they come under the de minimis?
often they do,
Yeah,
unless
they're
there's
just
a
a
lot.
box that gets attached. Yeah.
Because I remember somewhere along the line, and this may have been in the more recent, and the reason that we put in requests, because we were hearing, I think, from people that it was just very difficult to put anything in without professional help. The complexity and aggravation associated with doing.
This went in, I think, because Act 2. And when this first went in 2007 was when we were trying to put up cell phones. And I will admit, I have been stuck up to my waist in snow trying to remove a lockbox from a vacation property. With no cell service and my cell phone in my hand. And having this aha moment that I could be in real trouble. This is a vacation area. There were no regular residents and I was stuck there. I got out, obviously, but it was, so we've been balancing that kind of, I mean, in the old days, I would have frozen. We've gotten used to, if your car breaks down, you can call for help. We didn't used to have that. We've been through the Bose, remember the small cells on the that didn't prove to be financially viable. And we've been, so it's always trying to do that public safety versus neighborhood and aesthetics and trying to find the balance. And
Well, wasn't there also an issue that may have led to our request for the PSB to come back, with information, is that it was a very formally bureaucratic process to make a comment, and the ordinary person would find it difficult to do, and you had to almost have somebody who had the legal as well as the technical expertise to advise you to be able to participate in this process. And the concern we had was, this is too complicated for ordinary people to deal with.
I think we got more of that we did a lot of work one year when Senator Lyons was here.
Yeah.
And trying to make the PUC part of. I mean, PUC was set up when you had utility lawyers arguing with utility lawyers. It was a very legalistic, when you started putting cell phone towers in people's backyards, having to go to the PUC. And we did a lot there. And I think part of that is that this was an alternative because the PUC is still difficult. And yeah, you probably do have to have nobody's supposed to be covered. I think I should take this because I'm not supposed to get.
I have answers actually to
Let me read the rule.
So, I had written it down. So
Okay,
since
what's
two
up?
thousand and seven, this would be the 7th extension of the height of the sunset, and they have all been 3-year extensions, with the exception of 2009, when it was only a 2-year extension. And in 2020, there were a couple of small amendments, but there was an amendment on the point you were just talking about, which is additional language was added that said that the advance notice is 60 days before the application is filed. And you added language saying that the notice that is provided to the legislative body of the municipality and the planning commission of the municipality shall include a statement that lists the rights and opportunities available to them to participate in the hearing, as well as provides them the guide published by the PUC on how to participate. So they do put out this guide of like the steps for the process. And so you added that to provide more information as part of the advance notice.
Required that it be in English.
Yeah, well, and yes, so the guide is required to be more easily understood. Yeah.
That was what I recall was the issue. And I don't know, have we looked at it to say that we think that's a good guide and is sufficient for the person, the lay person who's trying to participate in the process?
I know it took a lot of testimony last time this came up. I remember Warren being an example. Some towns are better prepared than other towns. And when we take this up, we will take extensive testimony. And, you know, the decision is, do we go back to 250? Which is in all kinds of flux at the moment. I don't know how would fit that, you know, what impact that would have. Do we put it into the PUC or do we make alterations to the present system? And we'll see what the House sends us. As I gather, they're taking extensive testimony and we'll see what we need to do. That's been something that we tinker with on a regular basis.
Thank you, Madam Chair. If you would like me to table this question for later on when we
Okay,
pick the bill up again, that's fine. And I think it's a question for maybe you and Senator Brock, but is the tenor of the feedback that we're getting so far, including the piece of written testimony that we have on our committee page, is that similar to what you've seen every time this has gone through the sunset process?
yeah, it's similar issues there. And we seem to have player in field now. A lot of these towers have gone up by people who sell to the public.
Mhm.
There is someone out there now who is selling cell service like to your public safety organizations. And they seem to be a little less concerned with public opinion. And that's something new we may need to work with. Generally, if you want to sell to the public, you don't want to annoy the public a lot. So we will look at all. Okay. Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
At 2, so we have 15 minutes. Before we are getting for security briefing, that is confidential, so we are going off live. Terrorists are out there waiting to learn our security briefings.
I'm just gonna hide the ads about that.
So we can go off live now. We'll be back on at 3:15. And Kirby is going to walk us through